Hello friend, welcome back. In a previous video, I already discussed about that things with you, how can display all that your rules on your list page, and now it's perfectly visible on here. In this video, I want to work with the edit options. Like if you click on the edit, then like if you want to update the name, if you want to update the email address, if you want to update the rule, then how can do that work in this video? I will show you with the live example. And here one things, like if you want to update this author, then you have to update that author by the ID. Like there is a 3 ID, there is a 4 ID. Okay, you can see I already defined one of the link on particular that position. That is a back, author, edit, and the 3. And this one is the back, author, edit, and the 4. Okay, so we have to update that all that author by the ID. For doing this, first of all, we have to create one of the route for this one. Like if you go to our route, so here, okay, it should be just like our before I did that work, so better I just copy two of this. So now into this position I just paste it. So when you update, I already discussed about that things with you, then you have to add the method as a put method. Okay, so for now there is a edit and the edit. So now our page is the author, so I just define that author, and here I just define that author and author edit, and after the edit there is a ID. Okay, I hope you already know about it, what exactly the things I want to do. And then the uses which method. In our admin folder, I want to use our author controller. So here I just define that author controller, and into the author controller I want to access that edit method. Then it should be author edit. Okay, it should be the author edit. And for the update, so here I just define that our controller name, and then the method is the update method. Here I just define as a author. Okay, author update. So I hope you can well understand about it. So right now we have to create one of the page for this one. Like if you go to our admin folder, there is an author, and in particular that position I want to create one of the edit page. Click on the save as, and here I just name it as edit dot blade dot php, and now I just save it. And this page will be like if you go to our rule and there is the edit. Okay, so for now I just copy it and then I will customize it. So for now I just copy whole things from our role edit page, and now I paste it in our author edit page. And into this position I want to update our form. Like there is a model, so right now our model is the author model. Okay, so here I just define that author model, and then there is route. The route is the author update. So here I just define that author update, and the author ID I just defining it, and method as a put. For the reasons I just defining as a put method on particular that position. So I hope you already know about that things. So now here I updated our model as the author. Now our all that field, like there is our name, the name field, email field, and the role. Okay, so first of all there is a name field. Here there is a name, and the name is same thing. And for the level, here I is defining as email. Okay, I just defining as email. Then display name I just defining as email, and here I just defining the our field name as the email, and here I just add that form as the email form. And also there is the ID, so here I just define that ID as the email. Okay, and also there is another field for the password, so I just define that as a password. Okay, so I just define that password. Like if you go to this position now, when you create one of the author, like there you can see there is option for the password and the rules. So here I just define that password, and also I just define that as a password level. So here I just define the password, and now our field is the password. I just define the form as a password form, and for the password I just make the things as a null. Okay, so here I just remove it, and then there is the class and the ID I just defining as a password. And also we have to load our rules. That means here we have to load that rules. So for doing this I already did that type of work. For the better I just define as a rule. Okay, I just define that rule, and here I just define the name as a rules. So here I just put that level as a rules. So here I just define. So here I just defining as a rules. Then the select, and into the position I just define the rules. And here there is a permission. So I in our create page here you can see I define that same things. Like there is a select rules and the rules, and then there is a class. Okay, So it's pretty much the same thing. So now I just want to load our all the rules. So here I just define that rules on here, and then we have to also make the things as a selected. Like if you click on the edit, okay, like better I just go back. So if you click on the edit, then all the rule will be the selected. Okay. So I did this type of work before. For the reasons I take one of the variables. So all that variable actually comes from our method. So I will create that method later. So now here there is a selected permission will be the selected, and then here I just define that my class for the I already loaded that things on here as a chosen. Okay, that is chosen package. So for the reasons I just defining that class as a my selected, and I just also define one of the placeholder that is a select rules. I just define as a rules. Okay, so rules, and I just put that things as a multiple. So I hope you can well understand about it, what exactly the things I want to display on particular that position, because we did this type of work a lot of the time, so it should be very much clear to you right now. So for now we have to do here, I already assign our method as a edit method. So right now we have to work in our edit method in our author controller. So go to the author controller. Here there is a store. I already discussed about that things with you. Now there is actually the edit method. Okay, and into the edit method, first of all I want to actually show that page name. So here I just define one of the variable as a page underscore name, and here I just define the page name as a author edit. Okay, so here I just define that as a author edit, and then here our author, like if you go to that positions, here I define our author model. Okay, so now with this author model here I just define with this another variable as author, and with this variable here I just defining our user model like user, and with this user model I want to first of all find out that ID. Okay, that means this ID. So with this user here I just define that find method, and into this position I just defined that ID. So first of all I just find out that ID, and then I just added one of the, like here what exactly the things I did. I take that as a rules. Okay, so for now I just take another variable, like I just take another variable as a rules. So into this position with these rules here I just define our rule model. So I just want to load all that rule. Okay, I just define that all that rule, and here I just want to flag it. So I just want to flag it, and here I want to flag it with the name and ID. So before I did this same things, like I just define the name, and also I define that with the ID. So here I just define that as ID. So here I flag all that our data from our rule table. So with the name and the ID, like before I did this type of work, maybe on here you can see there is a rule ID, and I just get all that rule with the name and the ID. So for the reasons, when you create the data, like here when you click on the create, you can see by default all the role is now loaded on here. Okay, so for the reasons I just also want to now do that same work. So for the reasons I just defining as a role and flag, and here I just defining the name and the ID. Okay, so then I want to also do another work, like here I also define that selected permission. So now I just take that variable, like here I just take that variable as a selected permission, and in the selected permission here I want to do with the db. Okay, with the db, and here I just define the table, and into that position I want to define our table. Like if you go to the database, like there is actually our this table. Okay, I want to actually select all the data from here. That means our table name is a rule user. So for now here I just define that rule user, and here I also want to add some of the conditions. Okay, like here I just define that where, and into the where condition in here I want to define our this ID. That means this user ID will be defined with our ID. Okay, that means this ID I just pass that things on here. So I just define that our field name as a user ID, user underscore ID, he will be matched with our this ID. And now I want to add the flag. I already did this type of work. I hope it should be very much clear to you right now. And with the flag here I want to flag what things I want to flag with our rule ID. Like here there is another ID as a this one, that means this field. Okay, so for the reasons I just defined that rule ID on here underscore ID, and now I want to do with the to array. So here I just defining as a to array. So I just defining as a to array on particular that position. And here also I define as a DB, so we have to use that DB. So I already did this type of work before, so here I just define that use and DB, so here I use it. Okay, so now perfect. So now I want to actually compact it, like here, sorry, like here. After that I just want to put that return. I just put that return and then view page. So here I just define that view page URL, like as a, it will be redirected to our edit page. Okay, like there is an author and then the edit, so admin and then author and then the edit. So I just define the page name, and into this position I just want to compact, and compact first of all our page name. So here I just defining our page name. Okay, and then I also want to compact our author, that means this author. So here I just defining the author, and also I want to compact our another data, like as a selected rules. Okay, selected permission actually, so better I just defining as a selected rules. So what exactly I did on here, so I just better define that as a selected rules. Okay, I just defining as a selected rules. So for now I just copied, and here I just defining that variable, I just paste it, and now I have to pass that selected rules, and then I want to add another one. So our another one is the rules. So here I just defining that rules. Okay, so you can see I just passed all that compact, all that our variable into this page, that means just edit page. So right now I can actually now I access that username, that means the page name, and here if you go to the edit page, here I already loaded, I already printed our page name, and I also get all that things on here, like here I get all that our rules, that is our selected rules. Okay, so all that variable now I can actually access on particular that page area. I hope you can well understand about it. For the reasons I just compact all that our variable. So now here you have to assign that semicolon. So now let's check this out. It should be work, like I just click on the save all, and now I just open that page, like here that is our authors, and into the authors right now I want to edit it, like there is a edit button, like there is a ID3, so click on the edit. Yes, now you can see it's now showing as a name, as a Kazi, email also visible on here. There is a password. So for the password, I just put that things as a blank. So he will be created that password from to this area, and also that role is now selected. I hope you can well understand about it. Now go back, and here there is actually the 3 permissions. So right now I just click on the edit. Perfect. Now you can see there is a Jack, and also it's showing as a Jack email address, and also all that rules is now selected. So for the reasons I just defining as a selected, and here I just get all the things with our DB table. Okay, and here I also put some of the condition. I just flag that things with our rule ID, and I just assign with the to array. So now each and everything is now perfectly work on here. So here I get all the data from our database and visible that things in our edit page. So in our next video, I will show you how can work with the update function. That means the update method. Like if you want to update the name, if you want to update the email address, and if you also want to update the rules from here, and after that, if you click on the update, then all the data will be updated in our database. So how can do that work? In our next video, I will show you that things with the live example. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.